Everyone, welcome back to the Performance Matters podcast. I'm here today with Chris Rayo, head coach of the women's basketball team at Lakehead University, Thunder Bay, Ontario. First, big shout out to our sponsor, petemethnerphotography, the premier sportsographer in the Niagara region. You can contact him at petemethnerphotography@gmail.com or visit the website, petemethnerphotography.com. Support local. Pete's a big fan of the show and obviously a really good guy. So, dive right in. Chris Rayo, give us a quick background story. Who are you? What do you do?
My name is Chris Rayo. I'm from Welland, Ontario, and I'm a basketball coach.
Simple. that's a description. Okay, so walk us through, like, how did you kind of kick off? Because again, always talking with other coaches, it's always kind of cool to hear like how they started transitioning from probably being an athlete themselves in the sport, but then transitioning out of the coaching role. Like, where did you start? Kind of walk us through that progression.
Yeah, so my dad, Niagara guy, local Welland guy, and he was a longtime high school coach at Notre Dame College School in Welland, and pretty successful on the men's basketball side, on the boys basketball side for many, many years, and produced a lot of great players. And, you know, I kind of was about 10, 11, and I was like really paying attention, and I wanted to be a coach, and, you know, it was starting to make sense. And was lucky enough by the time I was done high school, one of his former players was a head coach at Cape Breton University on the men's side, Matt Skin, who's since become a great friend, and I went out and started helping him. When I was 19, I was an assistant coach out there with CBU men for 3 years there, 1 year with Acadia men, back to Teachers College at Cape Breton University for another year, and then we met because I got the Niagara College women's job, moved back to Niagara, needed a strength coach. You know, I think my second year we connected and had a great working relationship, and was there for 4 years.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, there's 4.
And then right before my 5th year, I got a call from Cape Breton University. Their women's coach was going on sick leave, and they needed a replacement, and it was August 7th. So packed up my things and moved out on a 1-year contract, and had a great year last year, and, you know, enjoyed it a lot. And then, you know, thankfully, Coach McKenzie was out there. He got all better. So he's back in the seat now, but that meant I was kind of lost in the wind. And, you know, Lakehead job came open, and it's a job I had interest in before when it opened up, and was really excited to have the discussions about it this time, and was able to be the successful candidate. And I'm in Thunder Bay.
Now you're in Thunder Bay. Roll Wolves, Thunder Wolves. No, I think again, people are listening. Work with River Lions, met Coach Rayo there, and then we connected for the Niagara College Knights program. Again, you know, big history there. Obviously, last year winning the whole CBL championship was pretty surreal, which is pretty awesome. So then, knowing like the experiences you have, and especially like your time working with like the pro guys, and then transitioning to obviously the women's program, what are some things that you noticed, if you had to say like where the differences, like what are some things that you would say are stark differences from like that level to like the university or college level?
I mean, there's lots of little differences. Like the one in your mind that's the hard one sometimes, when you spend the summer with the pro guys and then you go back to women's university or women's college or even men's university, is the physical space they take up on the court is different. Like the actual, like what you're looking at takes a minute to get your eyes adjusted to it again, you know, the speed, because you're watching the game at ×2, ×4, ×6, whatever level the pros are playing at. So it takes a little bit of adjustment to get your eyes back to what you're looking at and your evaluations and all that stuff. But, you know, we watch enough basketball that happens pretty quick. You know, as far as the way the work gets done, it's very similar in a lot of ways, right? Like the high-end kids at the youth sports level are working in similar ways, maybe not as efficiently as the pros. Some of these pros are super efficient. They walk in, they get their work done in 40 minutes. They're not BSing around and chatting it up. Like they're in there, they get their work done. They know what they need. A lot of times, more so than the youth sports kids. The youth sports kids a lot of times will look to you as a coach, like, hey, what do I need? What do I need to do? Where these pro guys they've just extended it, right? They've been playing for 5, 6, 7, 8 more years than these kids. So they walk in, they go, I need this, let's do it. And a lot of times they'll have their own drills they want to do. Sometimes they'll ask you for suggestions. I was talking to there's a girl up here in Thunder Bay who's playing professionally right now, played at a different university, but she's working out with us. And We were kind of talking about last night. I feel like at the pro level, we're more suggestion boxes. Like I'm ready. I've got stuff for you. I'm ready to go if you need me. If you don't need me, I'll just be here. If you're struggling with something, I'll step in if you need it. But whatever you need to get better, you're gonna understand you're playing more than me because you've seen yourself play more, right? Where
Yeah.
the youth sports kids, they're still developing. You're working with them. They don't have the same understanding of the game yet because they just don't have the years under the belt. So
Yeah.
I think that those are the biggest like actual like day to day differences is like what I'm preparing to and like how I'm running things or how I'm introducing things versus like being there ready with the suggestion if needed.
Yeah. It's almost like they just kind of extend the creative guardrails a little bit, right? Like they have more creative freedom to just work within it to achieve a certain task, compared to like the university or college level where they still need a little more structure just to develop and figure out what they're good at and figure out and learn more about themselves. And when they get to that next level, it's kind of like, okay, you might have a better grasp of everything that you need to do to be successful. If that's the case, you're right. Like as long as you can achieve point A to point B, you have these guardrails over here. You can work creatively within them to just achieve what you have to achieve. And then if you need help, step in, structure, back out, go again.
Yeah,
You kind of
and
know.
we've talked about this before a couple of years ago, right? You and I, and I think you were a little more blunt about it a couple of years ago, where it was just like, look, if you're performing, you can come in the gym and you can roll and you can do yoga, you can do whatever you want if you're performing.
Yeah, doesn't
But
fucking
as soon
matter.
as you're not performing, now we got to talk. And it's the
Hmm.
same thing on the basketball side. Like, if you want to come in and shoot 10 half court shots, but you're putting up 24 and 18 or 24 and 12, right? Like, no one's going to say anything to you, right? Like, that's what it is. Because professionally, you're there for a year, you're getting paid, as long as you're not a complete detriment, like, it's fine. But that's this process, tortured artist kind of thing. But
Yeah.
as soon as that stops working, well, now we got to have some serious conversations, or there's going
Yeah.
to be someone coming to take your job.
Yep. we
But
were talking. We were talking with David Kitch yesterday, and he had a funny story about this was like a college story, but he was on the football field, and the one coach, there's this one player on the team who was just like this not getting it apparently, and Kitch was on the field too. The head coach just puts his hand on the kid's shoulder, like was wasn't mad, wasn't anything, just tells the kids like someone lied to you. This isn't for you. Just literally fucking someone lied to you and then just walked away. I was like, that is fucking savage, man.
that's hard.
It's the same concept. It's like, hey, as long as you're putting your points up and you're doing your job, no one's gonna say anything. No one's gonna care how you got there. You're getting there. You're doing what you have to do. The minute that stops working, sorry, man, we have to have a conversation because you're right. There's going to be someone that next man up. That's just how those things work. It's a cruel system, but it's just the system. It's not going to change. It is a business operation, and it's a wins and losses business. If you're not putting up your points and not doing your job, then you're low hanging fruit, and then next man up. So, I mean that's what they signed up for. That's what we all sign up for. Like it is a wins and losses business, right? Someone's not going to give up their salary, their wife, their kids, and their house if because they're not doing their job.
No, and
Right?
the next
So
guy's not going to be like, "Oh man, Matrix lost his job. Like, I don't know if I should take that one." Like, no, like
no,
an opportunity we're all dying for. So like, you're going to do it,
yeah,
right? Like,
you chose that life. That's what you
yeah,
signed up for. You know what I mean? You can't hate on it. It's like you signed up for that life. It's going to take some work. So then now, with your new position at Lakehead, so how do you kind of like now entering with a new team, a whole new group of players? What's your process look like to not only create buy-in, establish those like building blocks of trust, so you can actually get the work done? So walk me through that new phase.
yeah. I mean, this is the second year in a row doing it. Um, so that's the fun part is I had some trial and error with it last year. Um, Similar position that we're a senior heavy team 2 years in a row. So that's a whole new can of worms too, right? So it's you just have to approach things intentionally. I think is the way to put it. Like I'm not
It's a
trying
good
to
word.
come in and throw over tables for no reason or do something for no reason, right? So I'm trying to be at this point of the year because they're going to spend a lot of time with me over the next 8 months, 9 months. For some of them, 4 or 5 years, right? We have some rookies, so trying not to be too like things need to be done this way. It's July, right? We got some kids who are around and they're coming to the gym for workouts, and I'm kind of like how were they top of four? What are they doing? Like, I just want to kind of see. And there's some things where it's like I can teach on that moment, so I'm going to teach on that moment. But it's not like I'm not code red yet, right? Like you can't come in and be code red day one. I think the Urban Meyer one was 4th and 1. You're living life on 4th and 1.
Yeah.
There are times to be 4th and 1. July when there's not everyone's here and those things, that's not the time to be 4th and 1. So just building those relationships and like letting kids try and figure out what I'm asking to do, but like try and get it done your way, and then if we're struggling, we'll talk.
Yeah.
Not being too like picky on things that aren't super controllable, like the effort or showing up or doing those little things on time, getting your lifts, taking care of your body. Like those things are super controllable. We can be pretty picky about those because they're not hard, right? It's so
Yeah,
simple.
they're low skill. They're low skill, things to achieve. Anyone can do that. Anyone can just check the boxes of the basics.
Yes, and if you want to be a good player, you got to do it anyways, regardless
Exactly.
of who this is, right? Regardless of who the head coach is. If you're not lifting, you're not going to succeed. It's not what it was 20 years ago in the women's basketball game, where there were some really physical players and there weren't, and I don't think every program was lifting back then. I don't think every program was lifting 10 years ago,
Yeah,
right?
definitely changed.
But now it's the price of admission, right? You want to compete, you got to lift, and you got to lift for 3-4 years before you're one of the strongest kids out there, and you got to lift to survive your first couple years, so that you stay healthy and you don't get bowled over all the time. So, those things are the things that making sure we got the structures in place. We're trying some new in-house stuff, so those are like my day-to-day for culture setting is like, okay, like what are we doing so that it's really hard to screw up.
Yeah.
Right? Like how are we foolproofing it? We don't have a varsity athlete only gym here, so like, what's our lift schedule look like? How are we making that work for the kids? Because we can't really roll in as 12 people and take over 2 squat racks in a public gym, right? Like you just can't. So like, what's our reality look like? And how do we make that work? And those are the day-to-day things. But as far as like building development and trust, like get kids in the gym, have them enjoy it while they're here. Now, I don't mean like we're playing tag and it's fun, but like, hey, we're gonna get better. We're gonna compete. You gotta find some joy in competing. Everything is competing, shooting, or playing 1-on-1, playing 2-on-2, playing 4-on-4, playing 5-on-5, and find fun in that, right? Like it can't be like you can't dread coming here. So that's step one is like gym is a good place to be. On court is a good place to be. Let's be here together and get better. So I think we're taking some good steps down that road right now, and that was a similar thing we did last year at Cape Breton. Was the gym was a place where if I make a mistake, I'm not going to get. If I make a mistake because I'm trying something or I'm working hard, I'm not going to get reamed. I'm just going to try and do it better, do it differently, or figure it out next time. That's not making the same mistake 5 or 6 times in a row on a specific scale where we're walking through things. Those are different conversations, but like, hey, you got to be okay, especially in July, walking in here and trying stuff. Because if you're not,
they need that freedom.
yeah,
They need that freedom. We've seen that a lot too. It's almost like, especially if you're trying to teach kids skills, whether it be on the court or even in here, it's kind of like they have to have, I guess, not the confidence, but I would say more just the ability to kind of relax and say, okay, I'm going to try these things. I'm going to make mistakes. And the whole point is you're going to fuck up less. It's not perfection. It's going to be like, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to fuck it up. And the next time we're going to fuck it up less, fuck it up less, fuck it up less. And I find some coaches get so stringent on like, well, we're doing this drill, we have to be perfect. It's like, well, if you never actually give them the creative freedom to try these new things that you're asking them to do, or even give them freedom to make mistakes and fuck up the things you're teaching them, how do you expect them to ever like progress it? Otherwise, you're always going to default back to, oh, they fucked up the drill. Okay, we're going to go back and do this and just kind of stay in the little bubble of what they can do. There's a time and a place to maximize strengths and minimize your weak points. But earlier on, it's kind of like, no, they need the freedom to make those mistakes creatively and not be so penalized or so pressured to perfect it right off the hop. The difference is, too, is like the more elite the athlete is, the quicker they can grasp that change and that adaptation. That is a different skill set altogether. But putting that aside, I think it's more just creating the structure or like the constraints, I'll say. The constraints so that they have that ability to fuck it up. They need to fuck it up and say, okay, it's okay to fuck it up. What do we do to reflect, learn? What can we do better next time? Let's try that next step. And then we'll just get closer and closer to the mark. Otherwise, you'll get either burnt out.
But like, I think we'll agree on this, but like a clean drill, like running a super clean drill that's not pushing anything or not getting anything better, like, doing something perfectly clean but not challenging doesn't get you better. You know,
No,
like it's
that's safe.
overrated. Yes,
Yeah, it's safe.
we need to push them. And the other part of that is you in different ways and us in different ways. We're asking them to do super hard things. We're
Yep.
going to ask them to do some really hard things that we need to be specific on. So some of the other stuff where we can allow freedom, we can allow freedom. And then there are some things where we're going to have to ask you to do a hard thing. But for you to, if we treat everything as like it has to be this way, there's no room for expression. It works in some places, but those places are the San Antonio Spurs or places that have won one way for 20 years, and even then, inside those organizations, there's room for that personal expression and things like that. So
Yeah.
we're going to ask you to do hard things. We're going to ask you to give up yourself. We're going to ask you to be super specific on a scout or on a defense or whatever we're asking you to do. So like, I got to be okay with you doing, having some freedom to do some things in other parts of the game because it's going to make us better because you're going to do the harder thing well and you're going to get good at the thing you want to do as long as it fits with what we're trying to do.
Yeah. No, I think it's because every player is going to be built different. They're going to have different strengths, different weak points, different limitations, and everything else like that. It's kind of okay. Like, what are the things that we're trying to help them develop in with their limitations, and where can we have the wiggle room that they can get closer to the mark? And then, again, you kind of fit those puzzle pieces. It's not just squeezing every athlete in the same mold because not everyone's built the same. And I remember talking yesterday, the same conversation. It was kind of like, you could be like a 6'2", 13-year-old and you're playing basketball. It's like, yeah, you're good at basketball because you're 6'2". But then once you get to like high school, okay, there's other people that are 6'2". So what separates you? You're 6'2" and you work hard. Okay, great. You're 6'2", you work hard. We want to get to college. Well, everyone's 6'2". Everyone's working hard. So what's the next layer we're looking at now? It's like, okay, well, now they have structure. They're being more specific. They're more disciplined with all these other. So you're kind of just getting close to the mark. So again, once you get to the pros, like everyone's 6'2", everyone's working hard, everyone's has specific skills. They're really, they're focusing on. They're managing their nutrition. So what separates you now from like the elite level? It's the same concept, right? You're just kind of adding those layers on. What made them good to get to that level is not going to keep them at that level to excel to the next level, right? So, but we have to earn that right to make those steps and be very realistic and be like, hey. And this was all talked about yesterday. It was actually really cool, but it's crazy to think that it's you're creating a safe. He said a good way, like safe and loving space. But safe doesn't mean I'm gonna make you feel good. Safe just means like this is a safe place for you, but it doesn't mean you're gonna feel good. I'm not here to preserve your feelings. There's gonna be some truth that you might not like, but you can respect that it's honest because exposure is gonna be the big thing. It's like if you want to get to that level. You have to be exposed and understand. Like when you and then we talked about this yesterday too. When people say elite, it's a very, very big buzzword now. Everyone thinks they're fucking elite. What do you mean by elite? Do you know what elite looks like? Can you witness what elite is and what? And then furthermore, if you're seeing that, what are elite people doing when you don't see them? Like what does the other side of the coin look like?
Yeah,
it's that exposure, right?
You're not going down to the soccer field and watching the U13 elite teams.
No, that's my hobby on a Saturday. that's as tempting as that is. No, that's not my first go-to. I'm trying to see, at least for us, it's like okay, spend a lot of time around college sports because again, a lot of our kids that we have are obviously high school or developing and everything else like that. But it's being more exposed to the next step, and then for the next guys, like exposed to the next step. So at least we know because a lot of them are coming in high school. We have to be very firm with what getting to the Canadian collegiate side looks like, or university, and then obviously the American NCAA side of it looks like, and then now what does getting to the pro league look like, and what are their expectations? So it's really cool. Like last week I just got off the phone with Tampa Bay because our guy got drafted, and like they were saying some really nice things and what they wanted. But it's cool to see like how the expectations are pretty much in line, which is good because that means at least from our end. We're preparing him for the things that they are already expecting of him, and he's checking those boxes already at the age of 18. Yeah. So that's good. So it's like good. So that means because of exposure, and now he has the exposure. It's going to be that is the thing that you can now parallel and you are in line with because you know what it is. You've seen it. You've witnessed it. You've been a part of it. It's identical versus some kids that say they want to get there. And then they have no exposure. So their idea of what they think it is very romanticized and everything else, and they think they're doing enough. But in reality, there has to be some truth and be like, well, like I said, everyone's 6'2", and you can be good at 13, and you're 6'2". That's why you're good. All of a sudden, now when you get to the next level, everyone's 6'2". What separates you? If you're doing those things, well, when you get to the next level, it's the same again. It's just another layer up the totem pole, right? So it's preparing those kids and players for that reality. It's like, let's expose you to what true elite looks like. It's not just a word and things you're saying. It's the actions that you have to continuously, repetitively do. It's like trying to go from like, well, you're a deadlift guy. It's like what got you to 400-pound deadlift is not going to get you to a 500-pound deadlift, is not going to get you to a 600-pound deadlift. Like you could just have long arms and a short torso. You could probably pick up 400 pounds. You want to get to 500? Well, now you have to have a structured program. If you want to get to 600, now you have to look at your sleep, what time of day you're lifting, what food you're putting in, how much caffeine you're using, because those things now are going to get you to. So that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? It's like getting more and more. It's deeper down the rabbit hole for this shit. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, this is a good transition though. What's your recruiting process look like? So when you're recruiting players, what are you looking for? What are your bare minimum quantifiable objectives that you need them to hit? And then I say soft skills. I hate the word soft skills. Personable skills. We'll say fucking skills that you would expect of your players if you're looking to have them a part of your program.
Okay, so it's a pretty prevalent question. We have five seniors on this team right now. Could be more. So we're working pretty hard on recruiting right now. So I'm just kind of diving right into that. I think the biggest thing and the most underrated thing is, well, it's two things, and coaches never say this, but be good at basketball is the easiest way to be recruited. If you're good at basketball, we'll figure it out, right? Someone will justify taking it if you're good at basketball. And, I think that's the old, like, you have to be good enough for the problems you bring.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not very good, you can't bring a lot of problems. If you're really good, we'll deal with more. I think that's just kind of the nature of the level.
That's a slippery slope, eh? Because people
it
be
is.
like, oh,
it is the truth. Like if you look around, right, like at performance. Now, the thing is, the golden thing is like get a great player who's no issues. Perfect. Why are they coming to you though?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like, there's a reason. People end up places for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say it on this podcast, but you told me your reason for not ending up at Lakehead, right? So like, there are reasons people go places. There are reasons, Janie Harrison ends up in Niagara. There are reasons Jamira Russo ends up in Niagara, who are kids who could have played at the next level. And Janie's going to do that this year with Rob, right? So like some of my former players, for the podcast listeners, who played at Niagara College and who were probably U Sports players, but were playing in the OCAA. There's a reason they're there, right? They're personal reasons, but whatever they are, right? I think Janie was scared of leaving the peninsula. I think she's scared of bridges, personally. I think was the big reason we kept her. But, but I think the thing you have to look at is like, okay, so are they good at basketball, one? And two, do they like basketball? Because there's going to be a bunch of kids who grew up and they're like, yeah, I want to play, but like they don't actually like basketball or love basketball. They like the stuff around it, right? So it's, playing with their friends. And like we talked about earlier, this is hard.
Mm-hmm.
University sports is hard. There are going to be days when you wake up and you go, screw this, my coach sucks, travel's hard, I don't want to practice, I don't want to lift, I don't want to do this. But if you love basketball and you, a further extent, like the program you're in, like your teammates, like the school's a good fit, you're going to stick it out and you're going to do it. But as soon as you don't like basketball or you went to a school and you hate your program, there's an easy thing to just quit, right? Like to just stop or not give enough, and even worse, like be on the team and not giving of yourself or not being as good as you want, right? So those are the two big things. Like the simplest one is be good at basketball, and then then we'll evaluate, right? Because there's almost no point of evaluating not good basketball players.
Yeah, there's a bare minimum standard.
Yeah, so like meet that standard, and then listen, we gotta talk. I like real people, right? Everyone's got different backgrounds. Everyone's got different stories. I've had good success with kids who have had part-time jobs, like in high school, or have done well in jobs in high school. Those kids have come in and been responsible, understand kind of what it is, and like get the work done. But also had success with kids who, haven't worked and just love ball and are in the gym all the time, right? So it's like there's not a formula. There's not like, well, this type of kid or this type of kid. It's like Everyone's got different backgrounds. Everyone's got different stories. So like, talk to them. If you can talk to them on the phone and you can talk to them in person, and it's normal. Like, they're not a bad person to be around, and their teammates don't actively hate them at the high school level, and their coaches say good things about them. Like, there's enough coaches I've been doing this long enough that I trust their opinion, and like, I can double and triple check with people and like, what's this kid like, and we'll do those things. But not if they're not a maniac and they like basketball and basketball is something they care about, well then in the coach player relationship we hold the power because we hold the basketball, right? Like, when it comes down to it, like, that's the only leverage you have with people is the thing we control, right? So that's fine if you want to do those things and you want to go and be that person on campus and party and do all those things and not get your basketball done. Well, the basketball is kind of going to go away from you. But if you're going to do the things you're supposed to, and like, the basketball can come back towards you, right? So it's that thing, right? Of not necessarily controlling players, but having players who care about the game enough that it's a priority in their decision. And then if they want to get better at basketball and they want to win, they're pretty easy to work with, right? So like, in recruiting, if it's those two things, if it's good at basketball, like basketball, want to get better, want to win, doesn't matter background, height, position, like, you can work with those people. And that's the same with the pros. Like, the pro guys that are the easiest to work with, like basketball and want to win and want to get better for whatever reason, right? Some guys want to make more money. Some guys want to win because they never won in college. Some guys want to win because they just hate losing at tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
Right. But like, those are the guys that are fun to work with because they're around, they're engaged, they want to be part of it. So it doesn't change a lot. I would imagine that your hiring process isn't much different. Be confident, be good, like what you do, and then we'll make it work.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's again, all those achievements are all going to be byproducts anyway. So the better you are at basketball, the more you like it, and it's honestly work harder longer, and you're bound to be more successful. Like, the money is just to keep score. The money is just like a reflection of the scoring of what you're capable of, right? No different than winning and everything else. But yeah, no, we talk a lot about recruiting just because, again, I think in recent years, especially now with the NIL deals and everything else in college, where things have really shifted a lot in sport down and across the border, everyone kind of thinks they should be that guy or girl, whatever like that. They feel there's some validation or something, and that's telling them like, oh, I deserve more, I deserve this and deserve that, and you're like, well, again, exposure to what that looks like, and what makes you feel like you're worth X, Y, and Z. Like, where's that coming from? Because again, at the level, everyone's tall, everyone's working hard for that level you're trying to get to. That is like paying cover now. It's no longer winning. That's just the cover charge to get into the club. That's not enough to stay there. You know what I mean? So recruiting is obviously a huge thing we talk about because there are expectations that coaches have, and that's okay. Like, it's going to be, that's what you signed up for, right? If they're going to offer you any sort of funding for school or tuition, or if it's NIL deals, you're getting paid. It's like, it's a business transaction. It's a job now. So it's like, there are going to be very strict, high standard expectations of you. And if you do not fulfill the requirements of those expectations, it's very transparent, then you're not that person, you're cut. Or you can do whatever you want to do. Right? It's just,
those are the ins and outs of it, right? Like, when you're identifying it, like, before we're even offering, like, I'm trying to make sure you like basketball.
Yeah.
Like, and then when we offer, okay, like, now it's like, okay, we need you here from here to keep from this date to this date, and like, okay, this is what our lift schedule looks like, this is what our practice schedule looks like. You got to be committed to that. When do you want to get into the gym for individuals? Like, those are the things that a love for the game allow you to have those discussions about. But if there's no love of the game, well, then it's like, when we're happy you're just coming out, like, you're probably not a player that should be getting money.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh man, great, she showed up. Like,
good job.
Like, good job, sweet, awesome, you're here. Like, so good to see you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, but like, that's not a player that you're gonna pay. Like, that's gonna get a scholarship. That's gonna get an NIL in the States. But the other thing about the NIL that I don't think Canadian families have realized yet is, might be 200 high school kids a year that are making that money. High school kids.
Yep.
Like, if you're in high school and you're coming out, unless you're ESPN top 100, top of 150, you are not. That money is not for you.
You're not that guy, man.
That money is for a fourth year transfer from a MAAC school, from a MAC school, to a to a Big East school, or from a Big East school to an ACC school, from an ACC school to an SEC school, or from, like those are the guys who are getting those are the people who are getting the money.
Yeah.
Right? Is like one and dones, and then fourth year transfers from Creighton to Houston.
Yep.
And like he was getting paid at Creighton too. He's getting paid more, but it's fundamentally it's really weird, and like it's weird to say because I love mid-major Division I basketball. I think it's great, but it's basically turned mid-major Division I basketball into JUCO.
Yep. Yep.
It has, right? Because if you go and you're let's say you go Niagara U, great over the border, great school, great basketball history. Let's say you go there and you're rookie of the year in the conference and a first team all-star. The bags are coming. Someone's going to pay for you to go to their school somewhere else, right? And that's no fault on Niagara U, right? They recruited a great kid out of high school. They identified, they developed, and now that kid's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a junior college, really, and you don't even get for 2 years. You get for one, maybe, right? So it's it's now the people you're competing against, especially they got 5th year eligibility down there now. Like, you're not competing for the spots that were there 7-8 years ago. Like as a Canadian high school player looking to go play D1, you're just not. Our top kids will still go. Our top kids will still sign places and go because they're those mid majors. Like I said, they got to replace every year. They're losing 6-7 kids going up or 4 or 5 kids going down, so they got to replace. So it's one of those things where it's like the opportunities for the big money or the big schools aren't out there what they were before because the schools are just going to go get a transfer. Why would I go take a risk on a high school kid when I can get someone who I know is going to score 10 points a game in this league?
Yeah, it literally just becomes like a fantasy league where they could just look at the transfer portal and start, plug and play these different positions. And I think because this whole NIL thing is still so new, there's still every organization is even making adjustments now. Hockey made the adjustment for, you can play in the OHL as an example and still go D1 now because it used to be like if you signed OHL, couldn't go D1. So kids are like, well, actually, if I go D1, I can get paid and still get better and still get drafted. So fuck that. See what I mean? So I think essentially college sports become like pro because now you're getting fucking – some guys are literally going to defer pro contracts overseas because of I'm getting paid more in college. I'll finish my eligibility and get paid more in college.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean? Like
these people will figure it out, right? Like the OHL will still be a good league because they'll get the best 17, 18-year-olds. It's just going to be a younger league, right? They're going to get the kids before they go D1, but they're still going to get the best kids. Kentucky is still going to get the best kids, right? Like if the first 1,000 guys, or first best 1,000 players disappear from an ESPN top 1,000, they disappear. The number one ranked recruit's still going to the same 5 schools. Nothing changed, right? It's business as usual. So it's like, for them to like death of the NCAA or the big dogs are still the big dogs because they're investing in it.
Yep.
The OHL is still going to find a way to be a feasible league and a very good league. They're just going to be younger. Like that's the only thing that's changing. It's going to be even younger.
Yeah, it's definitely an adaptation for a lot of them. And you're right, the guys and girls, like the organizations that have the fucking money, that has not changed for them. They're just forking out more, and it's a little more purposeful. They have the freedom to do that. I think a lot of our kids just have to realize, like, they are. It's harder for a high school Canadian to now go across the border. Like transfers are abundant, so again, you have to be. I think a lot of people think they're the outlier. You know what I mean? But a lot of people are in this gray area. You know what I mean? So like, try to fight in the gray area and become the top of the gray area. Like you're not that guy. You will know. Trust me. You will know if you're that guy. Like the big schools and big money will come in your way if you're that guy. If you're not, you're in the middle ground and fight to get the top. So you're still that person that can get the opportunity versus you kind of ride the bottom of that fucking middle ground.
The States is probably closer to this than we are, just because of the sheer numbers. But one of the best ones I heard was, and it was a Mike Hurley was talking about it because his kids went through the recruiting process. Is the coach said, look around the room, wherever most people are from, that's the level you are. So like his son was going through, and it's like, okay, there's one high D1, there's 2 high D2s, and then everyone else is a mid-major, probably a mid-major player, right? And like a really good one, and having that guy you just having a great career at Vermont. But it's just those things where it's like, okay, like have a presence of mind of who's in your room. If
Yeah.
there's 15 U sports schools and one college school or CCAA school, you're a U sports player. If it's the other way around, you're probably a CCAA player.
Yeah.
But you want to chase that dream and you're okay, like putting that work in at that school, like maybe it's for you, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just but look at the room around you, right? If you
Hmm.
think you're a high D1 player and it's a couple D2s, a lot of U sports schools, that's probably your level, and if you're not okay with that, well, something has to change in what you're doing, in your process and what you're doing. And like you said, you got to try and rise to the top of that, whatever your gray area is, rise to the top of that. But it's hard, right? Like there's a lot of, I don't know what the other sports are like, but there's a lot of voices, right? And there's a lot of benefit to youth coaches sending kids to the States, good situation, bad situation, doesn't matter. Because then they can tell the next kid, look how many players I sent here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And it's part of that is us not promoting the U Sports game enough because the U Sports game is a very good level of basketball. Like it's a very good level of basketball. Our kids, they graduate and go play pro. Our high level kids do really well, have long careers, do well, are well liked by organizations. You know, U Sports is run really well, top to bottom. A lot
Yeah.
of all full time coaches in basketball, men's and women's side across the country. A lot of good players, a lot of great coaches, right? So it's a great place to play and experience for 5 years and get a great education. But if we go to junior college, Texas dash this dash that dash this, well, I can just say you went down to the States and we're good.
Yeah.
Good job us. So.
Yeah. That's it's like I said, it's a lot of education, a lot of exposure, and obviously as coaches, like put your fucking ego aside and just try to develop your players as best you fucking can. Like, again, if they're not outliers, help them reach their relative ceiling as close as possible. Like they all have relative ceilings for their limitations. If you can just get closer to their ceiling, that's all you can do. So now I want to transition a bit over because when we're talking with when you're running your team and running your practices, obviously playing time is a big conversation. So how do you dictate playing time, and then how do you have those conversations with players that feel they should have more playing time?
Well, I mean, the easiest thing to say is like I don't do playing time. You guys kind of decide playing time. It kind of works out, with you guys are telling me who to play in practice, right? We're figuring this thing out. We're competing enough that we're going to see, right? We're
Yeah.
going to know. The hard part becomes is it's not a player's job to be objective and clear minded about a lot of these things. Their job is to be delusional and aggressive about these things because that's how they got here, right? They've been the best kid on their team since they were 5 years old, like we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Things change when you get up here. The easier conversations to have about playing time are, you're not doing this well enough, you're not showing up, you're not doing like those ones are easy, right? Like,
Yeah.
here's the stuff you need to be doing, here's the stuff that you're not doing, and there's a disconnect there, and it's not you're not performing, so we can't do this. The harder ones are the kids who do everything you ask and just aren't better than the kid on the floor. Those are the really difficult ones. Those are very difficult conversations, and it's
So how do you walk, like what do you walk through that? Say let's literally say kid comes in your office, they're checking the boxes, they're doing the low skill stuff, they're doing everything coach is telling them to do, and they're in your mind they're just not as good as the next man up. Like what? Because again, let's say you're stuck with them for like 2 more years. Like where's their role? How do you dictate their role?
in fairness to them. Like a lot of times, and I've done this in my career, and it's been hard, but like you know after the year we talk, I'll be like, I'll pick up the phone, I will call whoever you want me to call, and we will find you a place to go. Right, a little easier at the OCAA level when it's a free transfer. A little harder
Mm.
to U Sports where they have to sit a year. Um, but just having those honest conversations, right? Like it happened between my second and third year at Niagara, where I had a player like that and a captain, and she was awesome, like awesome, great kid. But it was just, you know, the kids on the floor are like, it was hard. The kids on the floor were better, So it's like, okay, how do we manage this? And it's like, anywhere you want to go, I'll pick up the call. whatever you need from me, I will do. But it's not for what you want. You're not going to get it here. So let's help you get it. To think that you're going to win all these conversations about playing time as a coach is foolish. You're not going to win conversations. You're gonna lead conversations. You're gonna feel shitty, because you recruited these kids, you developed them, you spent a lot of time with them. And like the truth sucks sometimes, right? Like you're not going to be what we need you to be here. So doing what's in the best interest of the kid becomes important, right? And that kid who left that year could have helped us the next year. Would have helped us. We had injury woes, and we had a couple kids leave last minute, and like could have used the body, and we could have used a good leader like that. But it wasn't in her best interest to sit around and wait for that opportunity. Now, sometimes it is, right? Second year university, you got 2 more years in your degree, your transfers aren't going to go over. Like, hey, like this is the best place for you. How do we make this a good experience for you? And how do you fit and develop? How do you embrace your role and still try and push for playing time? Because if you don't have kids who are pushing for playing time, you got the wrong kids. You're not going to be good enough. Yeah. So how do you manage that and at the same time be like, hey, unless something changes here, like the opportunity is not there yet. It will come, probably, maybe not. But being upfront about like those things are important because you have to be fair to the kid who's kicking everyone's butt and you can't pull off the court. We're not going to pull this kid off the court because you feel bad. And then the other hard part for kids to understand a lot of times is they'll look at other teams and they'll be like, I'm better than that kid on that other team.
Or that's a slippery slope for them though.
Right? You know what I mean? But like that's not our problem.
Yeah.
Right? That's the catch-22 of being on a team is like we're together, we're doing this, but like you want to play, you got to be better than that person you got on the court. And even on bad teams have this problem, right? You lose a game and kid doesn't play much, and they come in and they're like, "Man, I could have done that." Yeah, you're right. You could have done that. We could have put you out there and lost by 20. But the kid we felt like we had out there, maybe we had a chance to win, right? We didn't, so it's hard, right, to back that up as a coach and like be like, well, but we're making decisions to give ourselves the best chance at it. And if I'm not, I'm being dishonest to myself because I want to win, right? So I'm going to make decisions and we're going to make decisions as a staff that best suit us to win. And if we're not doing that, that's a bigger issue that is probably problematic of like us and what we're doing. So, and that's the hardest thing is like, you're not going to win these conversations and they're going to be hard and they're going to suck. And sometimes they're going to end with kids leaving. Sometimes they're going to end with kids saying, fuck you. Or, writing your AD or like, being pissy or not talking to you when they see you. And sometimes you're going to be able to walk up to the kid that you helped transfer and you're going to give them a big hug. And, that's a kid that you're in their corner for life. And if they need something, they can always tell you. And it's, that's why we do this for besides the winning, besides that is to help kids get better and to help them become, go coach their kids or be great adults or, be good citizens, as my dad used to say, and do those things. So it's not everyone's going to be successful in those conversations. So you have to be okay being like, well, this could go not good. And then as a coach, protect yourself, have another coach in the room, record it, have those notes, be honest without being hurtful as much as you can. Like, don't insult people. But a lot of times they know, too, is the other part. If you ask a kid a question like, well, are you better than this person? A lot of times I know it's really hard to lie to yourself, right? Like people do it, but it is difficult to lie to yourself in front of others, right? And if you can easily, you're pretty far gone.
Yeah, delusional at that point. Delusional,
right? So it's like then you're dealing with a different problem. But it's just one of those things where you're not going to win these conversations. A lot of times they know deep down that so and so is probably better, So it's like, okay, that's kind of how you have to approach it because no one cares if you're better than the kid on the other team. No one cares.
Yeah.
It's not helping us, right? So, if you want to get in those games where we're up 20, like that'll probably happen still. So I don't know. That was a long answer, but it was a tough question.
Long answer for simple answers is going to be, yeah, it's just tough, man. Yeah, it's hard, man. Like,
All
yeah,
right, you got to do it.
I just gotta fucking tug the nuts and fucking go for it, buddy.
Yeah.
Uh, so then, using your experience you've had again, college, pro, OUA now, a lot of young coaches obviously want to kind of get into your shoes and find those roles. So, like, what advice do you have for coaches that are trying to like not only get their foot in the door, but then because it is going to be a long journey, like coaches like are few and far between, the opportunities are few and far between, and you're going to live like a fucking nomad for a long fucking time, and you got to be okay with it. Like, what advice do you have for them? What are some of the things that you would recommend?
Well, I mean, you got to do it. Like, that's the hard part. It's like, you just got to do it. Like, there's just a lot of stuff you just got to do. Like, you got to get your coaching levels. Have to. Doesn't matter if you think they're dumb. Doesn't matter if you don't think they help. Doesn't matter. Find an organization, go work for them, get them to pay for it. I was lucky enough. Basketball Nova Scotia paid for a lot of mine, right? Like, got a lot of funding for that. You just got to do it. Like, you just got to get it done, and give yourself a chance when you sit in front of someone in a suit who knows nothing about, the inner workings of minor basketball or like what these levels mean, but sees you have the levels. Like, you got to be able to be like, yeah, I'm educated in what I do. Here's what I do. And here's what it means, right? So you have to be able to present yourself to those people, because those are decision makers a lot of times, right? So, and then you just gotta be willing to go. Like, it's hard. I'm lucky I started when I was young. Started when I was really young, 19. Just moved across the country. Never been to CBU before. Just got off a plane, looked around, said, "Where the heck am I?" And then drove 5 minutes to campus, right? So it's like, I was fortunate enough to just pick up and move like 7 times in the last 10 years. Like,
damn.
Yeah, but lucky enough to do it, right? Like, super cool opportunities. Had an opportunity I never thought I'd have and get to coach at home. Never thought I would coach in the Niagara region. Ever. Never thought I'd coach in the OUA, if I'm being honest. Never thought the OUA would come calling. And Lakehead, even though it feels like I might be just on the outskirts of the province, right? Like, still in the OUA, still get to coach in Southern Ontario 10 times, 12 times a year, depending on our schedule. So it's one of those things where it's like, listen, you just gotta go. You gotta take risks. You gotta be willing to take risks. If you're not willing to move, it's a really hard job, because if you're not willing to move, there might be 2 jobs in your area.
Yeah.
And two full-time jobs, and that's the university. If you're lucky to live near a university, and the coach there doesn't want to lose their job.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they don't want to lose their job.
I'm good here.
And there's a bunch of other coaches who are like, I would love that job. I would kill to have that job, and that are at other jobs. So when that coach retires, they don't make the decision of who gets the next job. They don't get to turn around and say, and this is what the question I would get when my dad was at Brock all the time. Are you going to be the next Brock coach? Well, I don't make that decision. My dad doesn't make that decision. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's got nothing to do with me. It's not my decision. Like, I want to be where I'm at right now, and we'll figure out other stuff later, right? Like, and that's when I was like 25 as an assistant or as a head coach at Niagara College, right? Like, people don't understand that you have to go and venture out and just be willing to just go take the next job, like, at the drop of a hat. And some people, listen, if you're 35 and can't move and you have a family, like, it's going to be tough, and you have to find your coaching itch other ways, right? There's minor ball, there's assistant coaching jobs, there's college, OCAA, great place to coach. It's a great place to coach, but it's time consuming and it's hard, but you don't have to move around as much, so it's one of those things where, it depends what you can do, what point of your life you're in. If you're willing to go get it, and like I did, I was a little stupid probably, but I slept on floors, slept in, on couches at Airbnbs for weekend. Like, I would take the bus to Halifax and sleep on a couch in some guy's apartment that he was renting out for $20 when I was coaching a provincial team down in Nova Scotia. Like, I was doing like stuff that, like, I look back now, I'm like, there's no way.
A tetanus shot, bro.
Yeah, like, there's no way I should have been doing this. Like, this was wild.
This was sketchy. This was sketchy.
It's nice now. Like, now, like, I went to Montreal a couple weeks ago and I was looking for a hotel, and I'm like, $15 a night. What's this? And it was a hostel, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have to do that anymore. I can go get
No, no, no. I'm past this.
like yeah,
Fucking inner demons coming out again. No, 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 no. I don't
yeah.
have to do that
But
anymore.
I
I'm
didn't get
past this point.
until I was about like 28, right? Like you
Oof.
know what I mean? Like
Oof.
it was a long time of like just kind of going wherever the opportunity came up and trying to do the job as best you can and just making it work on shoestring budgets and all those things. And those skills help me. I'm very lucky in terms of like I have a different path to a lot of youth sports coaches right now. I
Yeah.
was an assistant for until I was 24, and then I've been a head coach the last 6 years. Been a head coach, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot of the people up for jobs right now are full time assistants or lead assistants at places, and then they're getting the opportunity to be a head coach for the first time at the youth sports level. My first time head coaching was in an OCAA gym where 12 people were showing up, and we weren't very good, right? And I had a lot of room to make mistakes and figure out, what does running a social media look like for a university team? What is like I was doing it, right? What is ordering T-shirts? Like how do we get high school kids to want to come here? How do we get because they didn't want to go there when I started. And how do we make Niagara College like appeal to local kids? How do we make Niagara College visible? How do we do those things? And I was able to figure those things out and make quite a few mistakes, but it was at Niagara College, and not a lot of people were paying attention until we were good 3 years later, right? Because
Yeah.
thank goodness for COVID, and you guys at Iron Performance, and we were able to put together some good squads and have them like tied for the most decorated athletes in their careers. That group that came in, and, 2 OCAA medals, which I think the school only has like 6 for women's
Yeah.
basketball. So it's like
Yeah.
there's a lot of success that wasn't there, but there's a lot of trial and error, and I was able to figure it out. And then, thank goodness I had some head coaching experience when I got that opportunity at Cape Breton last week, or it would have gone
Yeah.
not good. Could have
Yeah.
easily gone not very good. There were a lot of times where
This is not what I thought.
not even not what I thought. It's exactly what you expect. But there are days
Yeah.
where you're just like, oh god, this could go bad if we don't
Yeah.
figure this out quick. Like this is not good, and
Yeah.
then maybe you don't get another opportunity. So it's like,
Yeah.
move for the opportunity, and then when you get the opportunity, be comfortable enough in yourself to fail the way you want to fail.
Yeah.
Like just,
Yeah.
I want to do it this way. We're gonna fail this way.
Yeah, I think not enough coaches understand, especially when they get to that level or their head position, they get good at the back end shit. Like figure out the back end shit too. It's not just fucking drawing up practice plans and coaching. It's like you got to get good at connecting with the community. You got to get good at fucking budgeting. You have to be like familiar with all the other shit that really they don't highlight, man. That shit's not on TV. That shit's not on the internet, bro.
That's the problem. Is like people get to these roles and they're like, I have to do what?
Mm-hmm.
I have to talk to people. I have to go meet people in the community. Like,
Why?
why? Why can't I just coach basketball? It's like, listen, if you only want to coach basketball, if you just want to roll out of bed, do a practice plan, coach basketball, go be an NBA assistant coach. Figure out a way to get there and do it. And even then, you got to travel, right? So it's not just coaching. And then there's the draft. Like there's so many things to this. Like there's very few people in the world getting paid just to coach basketball.
Yeah, it's never just one. Yeah.
No, you're not. And even if you are that level, you're still building a culture. You still have input, hopefully, on a functional organization, input on GM decisions, right? Like, there's so much stuff to do. You still got to roll up to a fundraiser. Like, you have to do this stuff. Like, what's the part of the job? Everybody's got a part of the job they love and parts they hate. The less parts you hate, the better the job. I love what I do.
Wrong.
Yeah, I love what I do. I'd never work a day in my life. To do that, I got to make sure we're on budget. I got to figure out ways to fundraise. And to do that, I got to connect with the community. I can't be an asshat when I'm out. I can't go to the bar in Welland when I was working there and go sideways because there's a chance that players or a parent or an alumni or someone might walk in.
Yep.
I just can't do it. And that was my hometown.
Yep.
Right? And now I can't do that here. And I don't want to do that. That's not the life we've chosen, right? Like, listen, we're gonna show up and we're gonna figure out ways to connect with the community and provide value to the community, camps and meet and greets and get our players in school, like whatever we need to do for the community to throw their arms around us. win is one of those things. If you win, communities tend to like you.
Yeah, it makes it easier.
It makes it easier, right? Because you have some credibility. But
Yep.
there's, you know, you also have to do the right things to get there. So it's all these things of like, I was listening to a podcast a couple months ago. I can't remember who said this. It was like some coach in the States. Like, when you're out, you're running for mayor. You're running for mayor. Stop, shake hands, and those are in places where, people know stuff. Or like people, college, university towns in the States you've been, I've been, like, everything revolves around the university. But like, even here, I've been stopped like 4 or 5 times. I just got here. Been here 3 weeks. Went to go watch a baseball game. 2 people came up to me. Right? Like,
Good shit.
It's great. It's awesome. It's awesome. And, some coaches don't like that, and they want to live in a city that doesn't pay attention. That's right. Like, your Torontos of the world, or, wherever, right? Like, big cities where the university is just another team or just another place. We're kind of it in Thunder Bay.
Yeah, you pretty much are it.
Like us,
like that is, yeah.
Men's hockey, the Border Cats, show us the Border Cats, the baseball team here with all the NCAA guys that come up for the summer. Like, it's, it's a sports crazy town with a university and a baseball team. So they know who you are. You're in the paper. They're coming out.
Yeah, dude, you gotta come correct.
Yeah, you gotta show up, and you gotta be the person they expect you to be. You gotta be a good guy. You gotta be in the community. You can't be a hermit, but you can't be out too much either, because then that's
There's
all those things. You have to be accessible and personable, and you got to be present at camps, and you got to be like, there's so many things you gotta do, but it's not much different than Cape Breton in that sense. And in some ways,
it's really just a part of the. It's just part of the job. Like, it's the unspoken job description. It's like you are now a representation of organization, and much more than that, it's now a community. It's like, you need to do your role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that I don't think that really changes for anything in sports, really. It's like, we try to tell the kids too. It's like, you're going to have to be a better person in the community. It's like, these things do matter, because people talk. It's every big town, it's still a small town feeling. Like, people will know and hear and everything else. Like, I think that was, even when I learned, like, coming out of university, I was an asshole, because it was a single person sport, right? Like, an individual sport. It's all about you. You're fucking, it's all you, selfish all the time. Also, you transition now to the other side of things, where, like, it's no longer like I work. My people ask for my boss. I point to the people on the floor. Like, those are my bosses. Like, that's, you can't be the, you have to reset your mind. So, okay, this is bigger than me. I can't just do this thing. Like, this requires to even have, like, earning digging regs, essentially. Like, I want to build this house. I can build a house. I got to get my permit first, man. I have to go out there and earn my permit. I have to go out there and do the work to get my permit, so then I can go and build the fucking house.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't be a fucking dick. Like,
you can't.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't be an asshole.
People don't want to support that, right? People don't want to support that. People want to be around nice people.
Yeah, you gotta be a human being first.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You gotta be a human being first. When the whistle blows, do what makes you successful. When the whistle blows, and when the whistle stops, it's like, okay, well, now you're the guy in the community again.
Yep.
Right. You have 2 hours to be a dick. You have a 2 hour window to be an asshole.
Yeah.
So, final words here. What's the piece of advice you'd give to up and coming athletes in basketball? Let's say, high school kid or university kid. What's like a paragraph piece of advice you'd give to a high school basketball player or college basketball player?
I would say to take advantage of opportunities. There's going to be, if you're good enough, if you're connected enough, there's going to be them. They're going to come your way, and you're not going to always succeed. There are going to be times where you have an opportunity, you screw it up, fail. It wasn't priority. You did something wrong. You took it for granted. What do you do on the other side of that? What do you do to get yourself ready for the next one? How do you acknowledge it to yourself without, crippling yourself with being unsure, not sure what to do next? Like, hey, it came, it went. If I look back in, I didn't do a good enough job. What do I need to do to get there the next time? And you only get so many of those. You don't get to go hand up my bat all the time. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen once. You'll have that game. Something will happen. And how do you respond? So, do the preparation, do all the work that you're okay with the result either way, because you did the work. And if you failed, it's okay to acknowledge you failed and figure out how you failed or why you failed. And if you can't, you got to throw it out and move on. But be secure in your preparation. Do all the things you need to do to make sure that when it comes, you're ready. And then if you're not, figure it out so that when it comes, you're ready. And you don't get too many of those, but take advantage of them when they happen.
Yeah, but more lines in the water, man.
Yeah.
I think what happens is, the more disciplined and the more positive you are towards the reflection process, I think the difference really is like between like the positive and negative mindset is going to be people with a positive mindset or more disciplined mindset. I think opportunities are still present. They just recognize them before the other person does. They recognize opportunities better versus others might see them as a risk. So it's like people that are more negative, they just say, fuck this, whatever like that. That to them, that's a risk they don't want to take. People that are more positive, more disciplined, they recognize opportunities so they can take them. Like I think the opportunity's always been there or will be there. It's can you recognize it and take action accordingly. You know what I mean? Like it's a huge piece. It's a really huge piece of the puzzle. Last fun question. If you could have dinner with any person, dead or alive, historical figure, who would it be and why?
Historical figure?
Historical figure. You can pick, dead or alive.
Oh, man.
Who's one person you'd fucking have a steak dinner with? I'm assuming it's a steak dinner. Hopefully it's a fucking steak dinner.
Yeah, it's a steak dinner.
Thank God.
A little bit of red wine, too. I'm in the sports mode right now, so I'll keep it in sports. So Red Auerbach, I think, would be the guy. Red Auerbach, former president of the Celtics. There's a couple good books. Red and Me is a Bill Russell one.
What's the conversation like? What are you guys talking about? What do you want to know?
Well, he's probably not sharing too much. Is the notorious crab. But if we could get an open book, I'd be curious about. He was a coach, right? He was a very successful coach. He coached the Russell Celtics and then later became president of the Celtics. So I'd want to know about his time up in the Catskills. He was back when the NBA players used to go work up in upstate New York in the off season. Like, what the heck was that like? What were those? What was like being a GM of a hotel, like of a hotel basketball team? That's what they were. They were hotel basketball teams of the entertainment. What was that like? What was coaching Russell like? What was he like to coach? How did you manage a superstar like that who was groundbreaking? Guy was blocking shots when you weren't supposed to do that. Like things like that. How were you? Guy was one of the best boardroom execs in NBA history. How did he get things in under the wire? How did he trick all these people? How did he make sure he got his way in the boardroom? Like, the guy was brilliant in those terms, and was a brilliant basketball coach. And he dealt with a lot, right? Like he dealt with a lot as a Jewish guy from New York, coaching in the 50s and 60s. Like, what was that like? So, I think he was involved in a trade. I think they traded the Ice Capades to get Bill Russell. I think that was the trade they made. Like a week of the Ice Capades to the Washington team to get Bill Russell. So that's got to be a story. Like, how do you go to your owner and be like, hey, can we share the Ice Capades for a week to get a center that's going to win us 11 championships? Like, so yeah, I think that would be my answer.
Oh, that's a good answer. Yeah, maybe a couple bottles of wine to open up more.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, if people want to get in touch with you, learn more about you, how can they get in touch, contact you? Where's all that?
My email is crao2 at lakeheadu.ca. I am on Instagram at
Meta.
I think it's at Ziff ZIFF. Let me check. I don't want to say it wrong.
That's fucking crazy. You don't even know your own handle.
I made it when I was very young. At Ziff and Rao ZIFF 10RAO. So yeah. Hit me up. I'd love to have a great conversation with anyone. And yeah, thanks for having me on. I like the podcast, and it's good to have on in the background while I'm working. And I've heard your voice a lot over the past 7-8 years.
Yo, you're gonna hate it. You're like, fuck, this asshole's a podcast. Now I gotta fucking listen to him here too.
It's getting to the time where it's just like maybe I'll take a couple weeks off and then pick it back up.
Yeah, you're like, I need a break. Why? Content? No, I just don't want to hear his voice anymore. That's fucking nuts. All right, guys. Performance Matters Podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Like, subscribe, share with friends. Chris Rao from Lakehead University women's basketball team. Thanks for being on, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Matrix.